how come when you're in combat and you see something horrible and something absolutely, and maybe this is your case too, if you see something horrible and you witness it, a lot of people can't understand it because you heard it, you saw it, you
Yeah.
smelled it, you
Yeah.
tasted it, and
Hmm.
you felt it. So it's so visceral that you it's one of these things when you try to explain to other people, it just doesn't come out right because you're like, no, no, I tasted it.
Yeah.
I tasted it, and it's like it's you just can't get it. It's so hard to get around it. But men and women in combat very seldom ever end up taking their lives, even though they've just witnessed something horrible.
Yeah.
And they don't take their lives, and you think it would be right then when it was the freshest, when it was the most brutal, when you could still hear it and sense it and know it. But I think what ends up happening is like your family, in my experience, is that we were put into a situation where we had unbelievable purpose. We had unbelievable,
Yeah.
I don't know, dedication. We had unbelievable friends, and we were all united. And it sounds weird, but the Marine Corps is one of the most loving organizations in the world
Yes.
because everyone in the Marine Corps is willing to lay down their life for their friend.
Yes.
And that is the true sign of love. So when you leave that, you're not leaving something like little or an organization. You're leaving everything that
Yeah.
filled you up that was good. So
Yeah.
this is what I think what happens to veterans. They leave the service, and if you don't have something to fill it up, you only have an 8-ounce glass. You're an 8-ounce glass, and if you fill it up with booze and drugs and bad things, it's hard to put in the other stuff. Your point was a great point. When I got out, I had a wife and a family,
Yeah.
and I had so much that it filled up my glass where I was not able to put a lot of other bad things in, but it was very tough. I
Yeah.
think everyone suffers in some way. I mean, it's an attachment. You suffer a de-attachment to or unattaching to a world that made great sense to you,
Yeah. I've
and,
had a
and,
few.
and an easier world in some ways.
Yeah. No. Well, to your point, I've had a few therapists on here and veterans and stuff, and they've had time to think and process it. But they say like retirement or leaving, whatever you want to call it, it's it's not just it's almost like a death. Like the life that you've known and dedicated yourself to, whatever it is, whether it be the military or law enforcement, it's dead now. And
Yeah,
people don't think of it that way, so they don't process it that way, and they're like, "What is wrong with me? I've been looking forward to this moment for my whole career, and now I have it, and I'm lost, and I don't know what I don't know what to do." So they were like, "It's like a death. You're mourning a death. You're that whoever that person was is dead now," which I thought
yeah,
was. I've heard two people have said that on this show, and I was like, it's kind of hitting me because I bounced around to different agencies, and while I didn't retire from them, every time I would leave one agency, it was like a part of me. I was like, oh, because I made friends, I had a life. That was my life. You understand that? But let's tie
yeah.
into where did you end up getting into law enforcement? And I want to walk through that career because you were an SRO, which is I want to talk through that at the time that you were in and what it is now, and then also community policing, which I if you were either in law enforcement or if you studied criminal justice, you may have read about it, but it's not really, depending on what agency you are, it's not a big thing now. But when you were doing it, it was huge and it was the hot new thing. But let's walk through your progression in law enforcement.
So I went to officer candidate school, graduated officer candidate school, and made the decision to leave the Marine Corps just out of the blue. Didn't talk to my wife about it. Just made the decision and decided to do it. And to my wife's great credit, she did not. She did not. She was incredibly reserved about it. There was no. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a bad idea. It was like, what do you want to do? So if I wanted to stay, I could have stayed. It was not as if she wanted me out, but it was really weird that such a monumental moment in my life happened in 15 minutes. And then when it was over, I said, oh, I feel great. It was the right decision to make.
Yeah.
But then, but then I started missing the Marine Corps, missing that life. And the mistake I made when I was young was I tried to chase the same feeling I had in the Marine Corps,
Yeah.
not realizing that I could never replace it. And there is no replacing it. I could find things that were close to it. And that's what ended up happening. So what I did was I just asked myself, what is the one thing that I can do that is the most like being a Marine? And the only thing that came to mind was law enforcement.